Part 16. Gods of the Mountain Ranges. Discourse 16 of 20. Beloved God of the Swiss Alps. 8th January 1962. Beloved God of the Swiss Alps. Beloved ones of blessed Saint Germain's family, weary not in well-doing. We are very grateful to you for everything you have done to cool the light into the people of this world and to help us consume the shadows. Great has been the service of the cosmic beings to the people of this world throughout the ages to awaken mankind to the divine purpose of life. And great has been the love all through the ages that comes, periodically, to release the light into the life streams of this world that is the strength to hold to constructive activities until they are brought to the fulfillment and victory of the divine plan made manifest in this world. In that great effort that has been made for the purification of Europe and the whole condition in that area all through the centuries, the effort has been made again and again to awaken the people to this light. Those blessed ones have tremendous ability to do so many wonderful constructive things, but just as certain as the constructive activities are brought forth into outer existence and the people allowed to be active in them for a while, the moment they've begun to make a certain amount of progress, then the black magicians through the ages and the hordes of evil have done everything possible to prevent those life streams understanding this law and gaining their freedom. This has been accomplished again and again through war and agitation and every diabolical thing. Those life streams have been held in the clutches of destructive forces again and again through the hundreds of years that effort has been made to bring the light with such intensity in that portion of the earth that these destructive things that are existing today could not come and do the damage they intend. But since the people have generated a certain amount of this discord, then by the conscious use of great cosmic powers through the retreats of the world, there is constantly being drawn into outer physical conditions the cosmic strength of the light, the inner essence of the cosmic light substance and the sacred fire, periodically, that is intensified in those localities as another civilization. These blessings are brought again and again, and during these times a certain number of ascensions take place. Then, as the light becomes covered over again by the shadows of human creation, the people come down under the control of the destructive forces. Now there comes the time when the increase of the cosmic light and various activities of the sacred fire must be intensified and expanded through every retreat throughout the world. When that intensification comes, the light from each retreat will come and meet the light from other retreats throughout the world. This will hold a certain control of destructive forces until they are completely removed. In the meantime, those of you who know where some of these retreats are, and that you have the right to call the individual streams of the power of each retreat into outer physical conditions whenever there is an opportunity to consume evil, please feel assured that we have legions at our command. And there is always a way and means of drawing into physical conditions that are wrong various activities of the cosmic fire, the cosmic light substance, and the power from certain realms of activity that act as a barrier to at least control, for a time, the plans of the destructive forces. Now, when you think of the sinister force, it is but the mass accumulation of mankind's selfishness, which is a human desire in the feeling, in the emotional body. This is but an aggregate of that energy that has been qualified with the darkness of human desire. Therefore, in whatever way you wish to give help, fundamentally remember that the hordes of destruction are hordes of darkness. Therefore, if they are to be controlled and dissolved and consumed, there must come tremendous concentration of the cosmic-like substance to shut off their activity and control them until the sacred fire consumes them, much as your snowstorm covers over everything and stops activity when it comes to a certain intensity. So, it is from the inner level when you can call forth the cosmic light substance in whatever cosmic concentration will stop the action of the hordes of darkness, the hordes of evil, hold them inactive until the sacred fire surrounds them and consumes their destructive activities. There is no reason that you cannot be answered instantly as you demand this for the purification and freedom of all life in the world. We have through the centuries poured out tremendous help, but, precious ones, very few of mankind, very few are concerned about illumining the people of the world with enough cosmic light substance and cosmic activities of the sacred fire to consume their evil. When people are in distress, yes, there's a general sympathy in certain individuals that wants to give help, but the masses of the people are not calling for illumination to show them the way out of the darkness. It is only through those life streams who reach up and want understanding of the way of life in the universe and the plan of life, and to understand the use of life in the greater manifestations of perfection that draw that here for the freedom of all mankind. I am going to say something, because it's the condition in the mental and feeling world of the masses of the people that enables them to be used by destructive forces, because they do not understand the law of life enough to know how they are being used until they are caught in conditions from which they cannot free themselves. The average mind, and I am speaking of the masses of the people throughout the world, you must understand, is not, you might term it, a student mind. It is not an intellectual mind. The masses of the people are creatures of feeling. And the feeling, having 3 times more energy than the mind, insists on controlling conditions before the intellect can understand what is being done to destroy the people. The average mind is not a student mind. Now, because of this condition of the darkness of the mind, because the light has not come in to explain to life streams why and how the destructive forces enslave them, they have been helpless before the onrush of the mass accumulation of selfishness. Many of these life streams do not belong to this world and will be taken off and returned to the worlds from whence they come. But you who understand this law, not only intellectually, but you who have felt the peace and the blessing, the purity and the love of the violet-consuming flame and the ascended host, you, because of that awareness and understanding of the law, when you make a call for the cosmic activities of the sacred fire and cosmic light to come into all life and force the awakening, force the consuming of the human creation that binds the people in darkness, you can be answered, my dear ones, with far, far greater release of cosmic power than can come to the masses of the people when they just reach up and ask for release from their distress. Now I come to the main point that applies to you all and all life. Whenever you call for help to life anywhere in this world to consume discordant conditions, whenever you ask for the love and mercy of life to consume mankind's evil and replace it by perfection and the divine plan fulfilled, never fail to demand the cosmic ascended master illumining, comprehending mind of life to come into the outer intellect and explain the truth of the illumining consciousness to the intellect of man. Mankind's intellect must be filled with the ascended master's consciousness and understanding of life, if it is to be taken out of the clutches of the hordes of evil who have warped the outer intellect by misconceptions and deliberate desecration of the faculties of the mind, because that is what communism has done. It's what the hypnotic forces of mankind's selfishness has done down through the ages. Therefore, the consciousness of the people everywhere in the world has got to be purified by the activities of the sacred fire and must be illumined by the ascended master's understanding of life. Therefore, if mankind does not know the ascended masters exist, individuals do not call the illumining intelligence from the ascended master's octave that brings to the outer consciousness the understanding of the use of the powers of life to produce constructive manifestation. So, whenever you call for the consuming of all evil, immediately demand that it be replaced by the ascended master's cosmic illumination and understanding of the law of life, the purpose of life, and the action of life to fulfill the divine plan unto the ascension. Now, you must understand how powerful is the radiation around every ascended master retreat throughout the world, because the radiation alone has controlled many of the conditions, destructive activities of the powers of nature in those localities. Then if just the radiation has held in abeyance certain destructive activities of nature in those localities, then certainly when you call forth the ascended master's cosmic illumining consciousness to force the intellect of man to understand the truth and the fiery law of purity and purpose of life to attain the ascension, you will take the intellectual powers of life in mankind out of the control of the destructive forces, the sinister force. That's why when you sometimes consume only a small portion of evil, if everyone would understand to demand that it be replaced by the ascended master's cosmic illumining consciousness that would never allow discord to be created there again, then the work would be permanently done, and individuals can be taken out of the clutches of the sinister force. And even though they perhaps are not too strong in the light, yet enough light could be given to strengthen the light in the life stream to take it out of the control of destructive forces. That is what we do through the radiation of the retreats of the ascended masters throughout the world. I wish to bring an explanation tonight concerning the retreats of the ascended host. To some degree, some of mankind understand that there is something called a retreat, and that is about as much as they do understand. But what the outer world refers to is not the ascended master's retreat. That's why we definitely make the distinction between what the world calls masters and what the mighty Saint Germain in this instruction brought clearly from the beginning and called ascended masters. There's a vast difference between what mankind understands as masters and what the ascended beings are to the life in this world. Therefore, when you call for the ascended master's cosmic illumining mind from the ascended master's octave into the mentality of mankind, you will clear the concepts, you will strengthen and protect the reasoning faculty, you will help to establish balance and protect it, and you will help the life stream to understand clearly enough so it can protect itself against the hypnotic, psychic, devilish forces of communism and destruction and insanity everywhere throughout the world. Whenever you consume human creation, demand with all the authority of your mighty I Am presence and the ascended host, that the ascended Master's cosmic Christ illumining mind comes into the individual or into that life and compels the illumination that forces that life to understand life, so there can be more cooperation between the outer self and the mighty I Am presence and the ascended host, or between the outer self and all the powers of life that are seeking to purify mankind and give the assistance to protect and raise what is constructive into the ascension. Mankind has not understood what selfishness does to create darkness, and there is no other cause for it except their hatred, which is darkness. So, in calling forth to the annihilation of the war creation of the world, the hate of mankind, whenever you call for the annihilation of a mass accumulation of mankind's destructive activities, demand they forever be replaced by the ascended Master's cosmic illumining mind, intelligence, and blazing control of life. So life is forced to understand the purpose of existence and is forced to understand that the constructive activities of life are, everywhere in infinite space, masters of creation. Then you take mankind out of the clutches of the sinister force that seeks only to hold the people in ignorance until they can be desecrated to destruction. If people will not comprehend the law that produces perfection, the law that gives them existence, and the law that has designed perfection for the future, then they will not understand they are in darkness indeed. And if they are in that darkness, then you must have the cosmic light substance blaze and shut off their action until the blue lightning Christ purity comes in and consumes their evil and forces the awakening that makes them understand the purpose of existence until they cooperate with the cosmic law that takes them forward to constructive accomplishment. When people will not awaken, they are going to stay in distress until the cry goes forth, "O God, have mercy!" And when that cry goes forth, then there comes illumination to the mind, because when the outer intellect asks for mercy, that mercy is light. It's the cosmic light and love from the mighty I Am presence in the great central sun. And I assure you, when that light comes to the mind, it brings conscious understanding that is never forgotten. Now, this is what is taking place and must take place in Europe or anywhere else in the world that agitation is going on and constant prodding by destructive forces the people who otherwise would live harmonious if let alone. The darkness generated by mankind's selfishness and hatred and filth must be controlled and consumed by the cosmic action of the sacred fire that brings light where darkness seems to be. Until the impurity is consumed, you cannot teach the mind, and it is not receptive. The purification must come, and when the human creation is consumed, the intellect must be compelled to face the light of the cosmic Christ, which every ascended master is. And the mighty I Am presence and higher mental body of every life stream is the cosmic Christ. That is the illumining ascended master conscious intelligence that forces life to understand the universe around it and compels the outer faculties of the individual to know there is a power of command and control that says, "Thus far and no farther," to destructive forces, and then takes them out of the universe. Now, this is the power that you can call into action. When you see these conditions in the rest of the world, call forth the ascended Master's cosmic illumining consciousness and the purifying sacred fire from all the ascended Master retreats in the world to keep consuming everywhere all that is of evil until the cosmic law takes a hand and purifies the entire structure of Earth. In the meantime, you can protect the constructive activities in those localities that have had great light, have accomplished great blessings to life, and have been, in each case, a focus of certain activities of the sacred fire that enabled those civilizations and golden ages to come forth for centuries and bless mankind. What do you think is the ingratitude of life when there have been 6 golden ages down through the centuries that were maintained for thousands of years with no destructive force, and those people got the ascension? What do you think is the love of life that allows one civilization after another to be built, blessings brought forth, and then the civilization decayed because the people that followed the height of the civilization were not made to understand that the cosmic Christ illumination from the ascended masters were the ones who gave the inspiration to build the civilization, and that they are the law. The ascended masters are the law of perfection, and the mighty I Am presence is the law of perfection, and the cosmic beings are the law of perfection. And mankind must understand that the education of life demands humanity understand, acknowledge, and accept the reality and the life and the light of these cosmic beings who through the ages have used such limitless powers of the universe to enable mankind to have experiences by which the ascension can be attained. So, ignorance of the existence of the ascended masters is a very dangerous thing. Whether mankind likes it or not is not to be considered. The awareness of our existence, the awareness of our law, the awareness of our power, the awareness of the power of purity that is focused in the retreats of the world, must be brought to the understanding of mankind in order for human beings to be protected enough that they may extricate themselves from the clutches of the hordes of evil until those hordes are annihilated. So, beloved ones, when you know where some of the retreats of the world are, the Ascended Master retreats, and some of you have been privileged to live within the radiance and radiance of some of those retreats, you are very fortunate indeed. You can absorb the outpouring of the sacred fire from those retreats just the same as you can go out in the sunshine and absorb the light and the warmth of the sun. The sacred fire is placed in those retreats that the radiation may go through the powers of nature and go through all mankind and bring greater life and strength to the individuals to stand for what is constructive. Therefore, when the blessings have been poured without limit down through the ages, through the Ascended Masters' retreats, throughout the world, there comes a time when, if mankind en masse does not purify the outer self and give obedience to the constructive way of life, there comes the hour when those destructive forces must be leashed, controlled, and then consumed. So from now on, you can call your beloved I Am presence and all who are in charge of the Ascended Master retreats throughout the world to call forth the Ascended Master's cosmic Christ illumining consciousness into everything that lives and force it to know the reality and existence of the beloved I Am presence and the ascended host. Dear ones, whenever you make that call, it's just like lightning flashing through the atmosphere, and the light and its intensity will compel all life to understand the law of its existence and what is expected if it is to have more help. So go forward in the constructive way of life, and don't miss an opportunity to demand the annihilation of mankind's evil, all the filth and selfishness and hate generated by mankind. Demand its annihilation, but demand that it be replaced by the ascended Master's cosmic Christ-illumining consciousness that forces everything that lives to see with invincible invisibility the mighty I Am presence and the ascended host, and be compelled to understand life and the law of life. Then you become a raising activity to every particle of life that you contact, even to the structure of earth itself. You must of necessity be blessed by greater raising activity that loves you, because you rendered that service to life, and the greater life, because you are raising all to its greater illumination, automatically raises you harmoniously, permanently, and invincibly against interference. So may you go forward and call forth from the Ascended Master retreats throughout the world every possible outpouring of the sacred fire in those retreats, and demand that it not only purify the people, but force the people to understand, accept, and obey the reality of the beloved I Am presence and the ascended host. Then can there come manifestations in the atmosphere that will convince all, and will make all understand, and will consume the consciousness and concepts of atheism and Russianism and destruction of communism imposed upon the life of the people of this world. And you can have it. Now, if this were not done by our conscious command and the help of those under this radiation, those who understand this law, if this cosmic Christ illumination of the Ascended Master's consciousness were not called into the life of the mankind of this world, individuals would go on for aeons of time in the clutches of the destructive forces until those forces are consumed. Your call for this cosmic illumination will compel the people who are caught in the clutches of destructive activities to awaken and make the call to be free from them. Then the sacred fire can remove the human accumulation, and mankind awakens to obedience to the law by which the ascended host can set them free in the ascension. So, this call is very necessary. I wish to thank you all for all the decrees you have given throughout the years where you've called for the purification of all mankind. You have called for much help to be given to the people of the world. And now if you will add to what you've done this demand for the awakening, then much more rapid removal of the sinister force can begin to come into outer physical conditions, and the sacred fire render its service of purification. So, go forward and use this with every power at your command. All you have to do is to ask your beloved I Am presence, the Ascended Masters, and cosmic beings to blaze such cosmic Christ Ascended Master illumining consciousness into every human being, and shock the consciousness awake and out of the clutches of the hordes of the shadows. Then mankind will awaken as from a dream, and turning Godward, let go of the hordes of evil until they are consumed. So your victory is assured. There is no such thing as failure. The cosmic law never changes. Your mastery over all evil comes by this call to your beloved I Am presence and to us. And you have been doing it in plenty of your decrees, but this we ask tonight. Every time you ask for the evil to be consumed, be sure you demand the ascended Master's cosmic Christ illumination to life, and the understanding of this law take the place of human creation and make mankind turn Godward for the freedom of the world and the ascension of all. Thank you with all my heart.